When you graduate from PCDS, will you be remembered? Will your efforts to learn all that you could, to explore all that you could, and to meet the summit of your potential have resulted in some sort of lasting impression upon the school? As many of you know, PCDS is not my first teaching experience. In my career, I've taught in both public and private schools to both high school and university level students. One of the things that I enjoy most about teaching at PCDS is the quality of its students, you. Year after year, you, and I mean all of you, continue to amaze me. Your intelligence, your initiative, your determination, your compassion keep me hopeful that the future will be bright. I say this because of the lasting impressions that so many PCDS students have made upon me over the past 10 years. But back to my original question. When you graduate from PCDS, will you be remembered? I only came to know our next speaker, Lindsay Coda, last spring when she signed up for the Italy trip. Up to that point, Lindsay had only studied French. I had not taught her, so I really didn't know very much about her. One of the first things that she shared with me was that she had just traveled to Germany in the fall, and the experience had so moved her that she felt that she needed to go to Italy. Not wanted, needed. Her mind and heart had been so affected by experiencing life in another country that she needed to see and learn more about the big, wonderful world around her. Although I had not taught her, and I may not have been able to match her face with her name a year ago, I was somewhat unaware of the impression that Lindsay had already made upon me. Even now, many of you may not be familiar with Lindsay, but I'll bet that she's made an impression upon you as well. If you've wandered through Hormel Center, going to and from either a science class or an art class, chances are that you've viewed one of her fantastic pieces of art, possibly a drawing, a painting, or even a sculpture. If you've experienced the velvety tones of the PCDS Varsity Jazz Band at one of their performances over the last 3 years, chances are that you've heard the magic of her performance on the vibraphone or the bongos. If you've ever visited Miss Driscoll's classroom and viewed the majestic romantic painting of Walt Whitman, or spent any time in Madame Mill's lovely French classroom, you've certainly seen the myriad of interesting and beautiful projects that she has created. If you had the unique opportunity to hear Carl Wilkins' moving lecture about the ongoing genocide in Rwanda, or purchased a crepe to support Doctors Without Borders, then you've been touched by her compassion for others. If you enjoyed the theatrical presentation of The Odd Couple, then you had the unique opportunity to see a set that was 100% designed by a student. Lindsay is the first student to design a set for a PCDS production. If you purchased a poppy in honor of Veterans Day, then you felt the depth of her patriotism and her appreciation for our servicemen. The list goes on and on. Will Lindsay be remembered? Without a doubt. But now let me share with you a few other less obvious reasons why Lindsay will be remembered. We've had many students who were into non-traditional sports, such as fencing, equestrian disciplines, and figure skating. But I cannot recall any students interested in rodeo. That's right, bull riding, bronco busting, barrel racing, and steer roping. I thought Miss Treadway and I were the only cowgirls on this campus. Nope, not so. In getting to know Lindsay, I discovered her obsession with cowboys. We've shared many discussions about anything and everything relating to the rodeo. And we've even attended a rodeo event together over the summer. I've also come to know that Lindsay isn't shy about her obsession. According to Mr. Kuhn, Lindsay's affinity for cowboys includes the goal of becoming the first female member of the Cowboy Artists of America. She was appalled to learn that currently they do not accept women as members. And if you haven't noticed, we implemented Western Wear Fridays this year and have worn our cowboy hats every Friday this semester. Y'all should join us sometime. If you were paying close attention during the Veterans Day Assembly, you may have noticed that Lindsay gave Mr. Guthrie blue and white flowers rather than red, white, and blue flowers, the same ones that she presented to the other honorees. Why? Well, because blue and white are the colors of the Scottish flag, obviously. How thoughtful. During our wonderful trip to Italy last summer, the gang, Matt, Claire, Alessandra, Harrison, Elliot, and Angelica, and I learned so much about Lindsay. First, she has an affinity for Italian men. Well, wait a minute. That is, in addition to ruggedly handsome actors like Gerald Butler. And all cowboys, of course. Second, blue gelato with an alluring name which starts with a V and ends with an A would be an official food group in Lindsay's dietary pyramid were it available in the United States. I'll let you talk to her about what that is. And finally, we learned that Lindsay is truly fearless, for all traffic in Rome yields to the Coda. She's even made an impression in the middle school. Now, I'm not sure if it's due to her keen leadership abilities or simply that she's only a few inches taller than the average fifth grader. But her desire to help, guide, and inspire the Munchkins on their retreat. Due to her, desire to help, guide, and inspire the Munchkins on their retreat, she has now attained a group of 10 and 11-year-olds that will wave, hug, and smile at her throughout the rest of the year. According to Mr. Erickson, Lindsay has positively impacted some of these students in many wonderful ways, and more than she will ever know. Now I have the honor of presenting to you a multi-talented, deeply compassionate, eagerly inquisitive, wildly imaginative young woman, a cowgirl with a heart of gold who is unstoppable and certainly unforgettable, Miss Lindsay Eve Coda.
When I met Carl Wilkins, I was mind-blown by his stories, his bravery, and his battle to fight genocide. Carl was the only American to stay in Rwanda during the 1994 genocide. He ignored what was said by others in order to do what he thought was morally right. What astounded me most was what he wrote to me in his book, I'm Not Leaving. It was one simple word that had all the power of the world inside of it. It was courage. But what is courage, and how could I use it for the better? I decided to research courage and discovered that there are many different types of it. There's physical and social courage, but there's another that surpasses the latter, moral courage. Lion's Whiskers, a blog created by Jennifer Armstrong and Dr. Lisa Dungate, defines moral courage as doing the right thing even at the risk of inconvenience, ridicule, punishment, loss of job or security or social status, etc. We've heard of heroes like Carl, the current Dalai Lama, and Mahatma Gandhi, who all stood up for what they believed to be morally right. Yet still today, apathy, hatred, and silence affect our lives and the lives around us. Throughout history, we've seen genocides and civil rights movements take place, and we've also learned from parents, teachers, and even bad role models how to act and not act. But as we grow older, we will have to come face to face with obstacles that we don't want to confront. A few of those obstacles are happening right now, like the genocides in Darfur and the Democratic Republic of Congo, the shocking poverty and alcohol abuse on Pine Ridge Indian Reservation in South Dakota, and lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender discrimination in public areas across the United States. So how can we use moral courage to stop these current and future atrocities? Let me warn you that what I'm about to tell you, you may not like. You might be disgusted, outraged, and shocked. But above all, I want you to be inspired by the stories, to stand up against what's wrong, and to use moral courage to do what's right. Picture this, East Congo. Today, its national army, as well as its rebel fighters, have spread fear throughout the population. But then again, these are only my simple words. The true horror is shown on the faces of those affected. Take Mama Rodi, for example. As a 46-year-old mother, she was raped by 3 rebels until her womb fell out. 2 years later, she was raped again by 5 rebels, causing her to need surgery. Her husband left her after the first rape, leaving Mama Rodi to educate, feed, and provide for her 6 children. Now, she lives at a rural clinic of the Pansy Foundation, revealing her story to the world and hoping to change it. Remember, the story that I just told you was only words. It happened 5 years ago. Not only is this happening around the world, atrocities are happening right here in America. South Dakota, Pine Ridge Indian Reservation, home of the Oglala Sioux, otherwise known as the Lakota. It is known as the poorest county in the United States, where the average family income is only $6,286. The unemployment rate fluctuates between 85 and 90%. The life expectancy for men is 48 years, and for women it is 52 years. Life expectancy on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation is the lowest anywhere in the Western Hemisphere, except for Haiti. Few live in houses. Many survive in cold, mobile homes or rotting buildings where heat is scarce, especially in the winter. Alcohol is taken in as if it were oxygen. What is curious is that Pine Ridge is a dry reservation. No alcohol can be sold or consumed on it. Yet a few hundred feet away from the county limits, the town of White Plains, Nebraska, survives only to sell alcohol to the Lakota. More than 4.5 million cans of beer are sold annually in White Clay. That's 12,500 cans a day. What I've just told you is considered normal for the Lakota. They live a life that we usually associate with third world countries, like those in Africa and Latin America. Never in the United States. And yet, it is happening in the United States, the country that we grew up in. But if you think that these hardships only occur some 910 miles away, listen closely. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 prohibits discrimination on the basis of race, color, sex, religion, and national origin. Basically, it gives equal rights to all. Or does it? Lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender discrimination has occurred for years and is continuing to this very day. Early this January, 2 women who were thought to be lesbian were kicked out of the House of Mercy homeless shelter based on the owner's justification that homosexuality is not tolerated there at all. This July, Kate Baker and Ming Lindsay, who had booked an inn in Vermont for their wedding, were later denied the usage of the facility. Due to religious purposes, the owner said, "We have never refused rooms to dining or employment to gays or lesbians. We do not, however, feel that we can offer our personal services wholeheartedly to celebrate the marriage between same-sex couples." Finally, this August, 4 months ago, a bride in New Jersey was denied a wedding dress when she crossed out the word groom and replaced it with partner. The owner had refused to work with the bride because she was gay and firmly stated, "There's right and there's wrong, and this is wrong." In 29 states, it is legal to refuse service based on sexual orientation. One of those states is Arizona. Yes, these obstacles are even found locally, among us. Now, what will we as students do about it? I have a passion and a drive to take action, but as most of you realize, I have no personal relation with any of these obstacles. Do I really need one? One doesn't need a personal attachment to help another. You just need yourself and the willpower to see it through. Phoenix Country Day School offers every one of its students a great education. We have the knowledge and the power to actually change what I've just told you. Whether you want to help internationally, nationally, or even locally, you can make a difference. These obstacles have been going on for centuries. If someone really wanted to stop persecution, poverty, or discrimination, they would have stopped it already. I've stopped waiting for a change. This speech was meant to inspire you to use moral courage in your life. I want you to be your own Carl Wilkins or Mohandas Gandhi. I'm ready to continue their legacy and challenge all that I've told you. And I hope all of you are too. As Willy Wonka, one of the smartest people I know, once sang, "If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to, do it. Want to change the world? There's nothing to it." Thank you.
You met the standard, you excelled, you were wonderful. It was perfect messages. Thank you both for that. We've had a lot of discussions among the faculty about what does it mean to be a PCDS graduate, what kind of kids do we want to send out to the world. I think we have 2 wonderful examples up here before us today. Thank you all very much. Have a wonderful, relaxing holiday spirit. Thank you.